Do you know how long you spend on your devices each day?
I think I kind of do.
You have an idea?
Yeah.
One of our guests one time talked about how like the screens is like the new smoking. I remember so many people used to smoke, and now that kind of died off a little bit because we know how bad it is for you. But there's still a lot of people that smoke. But now it's like the screen. Just everyone is just like on their phones like 24/7.
It's almost worse in a way. Like the health effects aren't as
Immediate.
or as apparent. It's not like maybe health effects directly. It's more mental effects and just broader cultural effect. And everyone's just kind of like,
Yeah. I wonder what like arguably is worse, like smoking or like excessive screen use. Let's maybe ask GPT what it thinks. I want to see what
honestly,
it
dude, what do you think it's gonna say?
answers. It's gonna say smoking's bad, but I just want to see the reasoning.
Smoking is well documented as a major cause of various serious health problems, including lung cancer, heart disease, stroke, and respiratory issues. Excessive screen time and consumption of digital content can lead to a range of issues as well, particularly concerning mental health, physical health, and social well-being. Prolonged screen time can contribute to eye strain, disrupted sleep patterns, sedentary behavior leading to obesity and related health problems, and potentially addiction-like behaviors towards technology. It can also impact cognitive development, attention span, and social skills, especially in children and adolescents. Comparing the two is difficult because they affect different aspects of health and well-being, and their severity can vary depending on factors such as frequency and duration of exposure.
Wow. Okay, so things are both pretty bad. Honestly, the screen time sounded worse.
Yeah, with like all these different,
Yeah.
effects. Well, that's the thing. It's like screen time can lead to like a myriad of,
Yeah, so at the end of the day, anything in like overconsumption is just bad, right?
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. It's the balance, right? The balance in life. That's what we all need.
Yeah.
Welcome to Curasolic, the show where we question the past and imagine the future. Today, we decided to talk about a topic that has been on our minds lately, and I think it's something that all of us struggle, including you guys, which we imagine, and that is the overconsumption of digital content and the excessive use of different devices and the screen time that we have.
So if you liked this kind of topic and this content that we provided to you guys, make sure to leave a like, subscribe. We're primarily on YouTube, so you could, follow us on that platform. It really helps us grow the show and provide better quality content for you guys. So I think to start off, we should ask ourselves a question. Do you know how long you spend on your devices each day?
I mean, I think I kind of do.
You have an idea?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think my daily average
Okay, yeah,
is?
let me try to guess. Okay, we try to guess and then we reveal it to each other. I don't know, maybe around like 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh,
on the
yeah?
money.
I'll-
3 hours, 13 minutes.
3
it
hours,
says.
13 minutes? Oh, okay. How much do you think I have then?
The same.
The same?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's reveal.
I just want to tell me this guy.
I actually beat you. I have 2 hours and 17
Oh, that's
minutes.
pretty good. Okay, so you have an hour less. Okay, so I got some work to do then.
Yeah, exactly. So
I thought you meant I beat you, but in the other way, like you have more.
Oh, I have more? No. Yeah, I have less. And I'm actually proud that I'm able to keep down the amount there of the phone usage because, yeah, me too. Like at some points, some days it would be 5-6 hours, screen time. And it was becoming a lot, and you don't realize how much time just goes wasted by on meaningless apps, social media, just stupid things, right? And that's kind of what we want to discuss because I think a lot of people have way more hours every day.
Yeah. And that doesn't even count all the hours I spend on my laptop doing work or whatever.
But that's the thing though, right?
There's all that stuff too.
So technically, how much screen time do we have? It's almost like the whole day.
Yeah. So let's say you're doing 8 hours at work.
Yeah.
So that's already 8 hours minimum.
But that's the thing. Like a lot of studies, they don't count the hours like at work because they consider that like that's work and you're doing something, you're focused on something. Whereas it's like on the phone, they count that as like useless maybe, I guess. I guess it's how intentional are you with the usage, right?
But I still feel like because we already had a discussion with like an expert like in these technologies and how it affects our brains, and he mentioned that how like just the notifications themselves, they give like this dopamine response in your brain. So I figure, let's say like a colleague like messages you at work and you see that, like I know I have like PTSD from that. I used to get like swamped all the time from my colleagues, and I used to get like these notifications and it used to like bother me, like, oh man, why are these people always messaging me?
Oh yeah.
So I presume that's also bad for your mental health, right?
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, no, for sure. Like at work, we can get very distracted by multitasking, email there, message here, on a call, YouTube on one, tab open. No, for sure. Like our screen time and just the usage that we have, we get very distracted. And yeah, I mean, yeah, that's kind of what we want to go over. And we did pull up some articles here as well. A lot of it has to do with screen time with children.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing that we're seeing a rise in is a lot of children, attached to their devices, right? And there's this whole generation of iPad kids that they call, right? The parents just passing an iPad and like, oh, go on YouTube or play some games.
And that's kind of what we want to talk about, right? Like I remember we had already discussed like how certain devices, when they're placed in the hands of kids, it could give you like the still faced effect. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
So, and yeah, that's just from like just having the kid in front of that camera all day, in front of the screen all day long. Like they basically become like without emotions almost, and it's like a weird, yeah, almost like a zombie-like state. Yeah.
No, exactly. And yeah, so like these studies, right? They go over the impact on children because obviously it starts when you're young, right? Because I feel like the older generations that got exposed to newer technologies later in life, I guess they have lesser, addictions. They might still, but the likelihood is less than if you started young, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like the earlier the bad habit is like ingrained, the worse it kind of becomes.
Yeah. Well, no, of course.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah. I mean, us personally, we were kind of born at the cusp of like, these new technologies. We kind of, I would say I did have a bit of childhood that involved playing outside, right? Before, video games.
Man, but I miss those days, like prior to like 2006 when like all the big social media platforms came in. Like it was such a different time, right? Like, yeah, more kids were like playing outside. Like you were able to like
you
see
used your imagination.
Yeah.
Remember? Like
yeah, exactly. We used to come up with like weird games. Like we used to play like Star Wars, like fake Star Wars outside, like pretend like weapons and like just like it was a different time. And I think like there is some like beauty in that too, right? Like the beauty of simplicity almost.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree, and it's changing. I don't know, for the better or for the worse.
Yeah, that's a debatable thing, right?
Yeah. But yeah, so this article here that we have, it has to do with like, how their diet is also influenced and
yeah, so basically the study is how late bedtime and like exposure to screen time late at night also leads to like other unhealthy habits such as bad eating habits, and also leads to problems like obesity and other health concerns. So that's kind of what the study implies and what it's about. So yeah, we could open it up and see.
Open up the study here, yeah.
Yeah, so we pulled up the article here, and the name of the article is Late Bedtime Combined with More Screen Time Before Bed Increases the Risk of Obesity and Lowers Diet Quality in Spanish Children. So yeah, this is like Heiko mentioned, is like made for kids, right? Like it wasn't like an article done on adults or anything, but still, like I think it's relevant, and we could still find some good information from this
to discuss about. Yeah. So maybe we could just kind of quickly glance over the abstract here.
I'll read I could read it. Yeah, so I'll read the abstract here. So this cross-sectional study aimed to investigate whether the combination of bedtime and screen time before bed were associated with obesity and diet quality in toddlers and school-age children. Parents reported children's bedtimes and screen time before bed from 0 minutes, between 1 and 30 minutes, and above 30 minutes. We then defined bed plus screen time behavior using bedtime median cutoffs and screen time responses, resulting in 4 groups: early bedtime, then late bedtime. So I'm not going to get into the specifics of that's pretty technical, but for all participants, school aged, we evaluated body mass index, BMI, diet quality, sleep related variables, physical activity, and health related quality of life. The results showed that toddlers and school age children in the late bedtime, above 30 minutes screen time group were more likely to have overweight/obesity. So regarding sleep-related outcomes, we observed that the combination of late bedtime and more screen time was associated with poorer sleep quality and shorter sleep duration in toddlers and school-age children. These findings emphasize the importance of promoting earlier bedtimes and limiting screen time before bed as part of obesity prevention strategies for children. Furthermore, such intervention could benefit the quality of children's diet and overall lifestyle.
Okay, so yeah, just going over this abstract here, kind of summarizes, what the study is about, and yeah, it kind of makes sense, right? More screen time, late bedtimes just lead to overall, bad diets, right? Because when you sleep less, you're more stressed and might make poor choices in the foods that you might eat. Like the kids might be, I guess, tempted by more bad types of foods.
Yeah, and in terms of like just like your physiology, right? Like if you have a poor night's sleep, your ghrelin hormones are like more activated, and ghrelin is like the hunger hormone. So automatically you're gonna be like tempted to go get the fatty foods or like the foods full of sugar rather than being balanced and going for the healthier options.
Okay.
So it's a weird thing, right? Like you wouldn't think that like a phone would also end up perhaps making your diet worse. Like it's a weird thing to think about, like how
The correlation.
how is that correlated? But I guess it is.
I guess it is, yeah. If they have, maybe if we look at here in the results that they had.
So in part of the results section, they talk about how the BMI, which is like the body mass index, right, of the children that are like toddlers versus like the school age children, how they differ based on like how long they were exposed to screen time and how late they went to bed. So it says for the toddlers, the average BMI was 16.1 plus or minus 2.2 versus the school age children who had a BMI of 17.2 plus or minus 3.5. So you could see that the school age children were likely to have a higher BMI because they were on their phones longer at night and they were having poorer sleep quality.
Interesting, yeah. That's the thing, the addictive nature of these phones are so great that I feel like, okay, like as a question, if you were a parent, when would be the first time that you would allow your kid to have like their own phone?
I think they mentioned that in one of the other studies that we're gonna go over. Yeah. I don't want to spoil that, but like,
okay.
I
but
think
I'm just asking, like,
well, for me, like maybe after like at least elementary school, so maybe at past the age of 12.
Yeah, I would say the same. Like, if they had a phone, it would mainly just contact purposes, to keep in touch, security, if needing to contact them, but not, to go on social medias. No, I will not let my children to have, any sort of social media. That is for sure. Only accounts to like message and that kind of thing.
So you're saying you wouldn't allow any like TikTok or YouTube or whatever there is like by then, right? There's probably some even more
that's the thing. I don't know what other stuff the devil's gonna that's the thing though, like I have to like be frank, like when TikTok and all these short form videos came about, the first time I was exposed to it was on YouTube Shorts, right? Because I didn't have TikTok. Like, I was like, no, I don't want TikTok. But then when YouTube started having their shorts, I was like, scrolling through those videos, and I was like, this shouldn't be legal. In my mind, I was like, this is such a potent drug, because before with YouTube, it's long form videos. You have to search the video, or it needs to be recommended. There's like more effort involved, and I was like, this is too easy. It's like it's devilishly easy, and I was like, man, I shouldn't be getting addicted, but
it's really scary, man. Like for me too, like when it first came out, like I didn't realize how big of an impact it would have on my life. Like I didn't, because when this stuff came out, no one would warn you about the dangers, like kind of like what we're trying to do here.
Yeah.
And like it was almost like a new novel thing where everyone was like, oh, look at this new technology, it's so cool, like, oh, are you on Facebook? I remember people used to ask that, like
oh, you mean back in the day?
Yeah,
with
sorry, I'm going a bit before here, but yeah, like just when it just came out in terms of like, let's say Facebook or like MySpace, like even back then, but I would look at this stuff and I was like, man, like it seems weird that like you could put your personal life onto the web and like people could see your pictures.
Wasn't that supposed to be private?
Yeah, exactly. And like now you could have your name out there and everyone could know you, like just because of one post, whereas before, like how would you get your name known? Like you would almost have to you would have to accomplish great things almost, or really bad things for someone to know your name, you know? You know, like
Either be famous or infamous, you know.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But now anyone could like get super famous and
And that's the thing. I can never grasp like, you know, these almost like millions of famous people, so-called famous people that haven't really achieved anything. You know, like some of the old stars and whatever, at least they've done movies and have talents or something to show for. But nowadays, it's like anybody can be so-called famous, and it's like the whole being famous loses its value.
yeah. And that's the thing, yeah. Like at least if you, I respect certain things in the social media space. Like obviously podcasting is something I enjoy. Like we wouldn't have started a podcast, and our goal is not to become freaking famous from this, anyways. It's just to provide like quality information for you guys. But one thing that I don't like that like arise from this is like, let's say OnlyFans or all those almost like those quick and easy ways to get famous and rich, that I feel like there's no reward system behind that, right? It's like,
It just rewards degeneracy.
yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's a weird like time to be alive.
Yeah, it's you know, as times go on, as we get more of these, you know, quick, gratifying services and experiences, life becomes more comfortable. We need to actively push towards discomfort and going to a more kind of, yeah, just not difficult life, but more of a manual, like you do it yourself and take the time and don't have everything served to you, you know, for you to just swallow. It's already chewed. You just, you know, like
Yeah.
the bird.
It's almost like we need to take a couple steps back in order to go forward at some
Yeah,
point.
that's
you know?
the thing, right?
It's like, I don't know, like how far do I want to bring this, and then there will be a point of no return, you know?
Yeah, well, we don't know, right? Especially with the rise of AI. That's another part.
Yeah. I want to ask you a question. So
Okay.
what would happen, you think, if tomorrow morning we woke up and there would be no more social media platforms?
Yeah, so what would happen? I mean, yeah, we've kind of, you know, sort of discussed this, and I think you said that, you know, people would go crazy. Maybe in the beginning, people might freak out, especially the top influencers, right? Oh my God, my followers, my likes, what the hell, you know?
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, people would freak out. But that's the thing. Like, if it stayed, you know, like if it disappeared and didn't come back, like, yeah, what would people do? What would they return their life to? I mean, I don't know. Would they go back to a more normal face to face, seeing people, being more in communities and friends instead? Or would they just be stuck in their home, not knowing what to do, right?
Yeah. I think that's a fair assessment. Like I said, like I think that the world would go a little bit crazy at first.
First,
I feel like people would be a little bit like shell shocked, like what is happening here? Just like, what do I do? Where do I go? Like, am I supposed to go see people now?
yeah.
Am I safe outside? You know, like that's my impression. And then maybe over time, people like obviously like humans are pretty adaptable. Like we would probably adapt,
Find
and
other ways to
yeah.
connect.
we would just create some other technology.
Just curious.
Yeah.
No, that's the thing. The goal should be to, if it goes away, then to leave it.
Wouldn't it be nice though, in a way?
Yeah, in a way, just for an experiment. Like maybe they should all come together, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, and be like, guys, we're having like a social media Ramadan you know, for 1 week. None of you will be able to go online. You know, yeah, the messaging services should still be there, but yeah, just everyone, you know, just be off. You know,
Yeah.
wouldn't that change
Some kind of social media fasting, like
Yeah.
like the purge or something.
24 hours? So.
Like the social media purge.
I don't know, man. Who knows? Like social media goes off, people will start killing each other. Maybe.
Who knows? That's like honestly, that might be my worry a little bit. Like I feel like people would just go wild. Like
Yeah.
what would happen?
Well, who knows? Yeah, exactly. Will they turn animalistic and start? You know, they don't know what else to do. They'll start causing trouble.
Well, you know, actually, we kind of had the opposite happen, right? We had COVID,
Oh, yeah.
which everyone was like locked down. So like all the human interactions were removed, and everyone went crazy. So I feel like that's probably what happened if like the opposite happened, right? So if like we would remove
From one
all
extreme.
like if we remove the other extreme, all the social media interactions, I feel like people would also go crazy.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, yeah, I personally think it would be for the better if we did have less of the social media. You know, yeah, banning it is an extreme there, but that's the thing. If it was gone one day, all of a sudden, people have gone so accustomed to it and have lost their physical connections in life that they'll be kind of left in the void. Like, what do I do? Who do I talk to?
Well, a good example of that is just the other day. I think Instagram and Facebook went down just for a few minutes.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
I
man.
remember messaging you like, "Yo, is that normal? Like, is the server down?" And like, just like right away, like my instinct was to like say that like,
But that's the
I
thing.
couldn't communicate anymore.
Everyone in the office is like, "Oh, did you lose Facebook? I don't have access. What's going on?" And everyone's like freaking out. Just for a few minutes,
Yeah.
it was
yeah. So imagine if
havoc.
So imagine if it was just down permanently.
yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, no, I mean,
It'd be different.
It's an interesting question to ponder for sure.
Yeah. So I guess we could look at the next like article we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, so this the second one that we had here. This one was a news article, right? So this was from last year, and this was basically China trying to draft a new law in place where it would force certain tech companies to have features like parental control to limit the daily amount, of screen time for children. So here it says China floats 2-hour daily limit of smartphone screen time for kids. So some of the key points here are Chinese regulators have proposed rules that will limit the smartphone screen time of people under the age of 18 to a maximum of 2 hours per day. The radical draft rules laid out by the increasingly powerful Cyberspace Administration of China highlight Beijing's desire to exert control over more parts of the country's digital life. The CAC's draft rules are a broader push by Chinese authorities to curb and prevent addiction among those under 18 to apps and smartphones. Okay, so first question that arises is like, oh, well, they're limiting freedom, and right, it's is this to control people more, or is it an actual
Measure,
to help? But let's step back, right? We have heard some of those rumors, with like TikTok, how the algorithm in China pushes more educational stuff. Although there's been some debate on that. I don't know how much that is true. It says like TikTok pushes more degenerate stuff for the West to kind of rot the brains of the youth in the West, whereas the Chinese children, they get more like math, engineering, more smart TikTok videos.
Yeah, maybe we're just more degenerates in the West. So the algorithm knows
It's
we're
like, oh,
degenerates.
you like
Here's
this
the content
shit,
you
like.
like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing too. It's like maybe they're blaming TikTok, but TikTok is like, well, guys, you like this sort of stuff. I mean, I'm just giving you this, right?
Yeah.
Although I kind of, am skeptical of that too, because the algorithm sometimes knows what to push more because it sees humans like seeing faces of people, pretty faces, pretty bodies, right, dancing and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think the Chinese population would be immune to that kind of thing. They would also like seeing those sort of stuff.
Yeah, because it's human nature, right?
Yeah.
Like, to want to see that. Like,
they capitalize on that, so the algorithm pushes that instead of smarter content.
So I guess maybe they are being selective on which content they are pushing, but maybe it's not entirely what's happening either, right? Maybe there is a mix of both. Like, yeah, like this, they are controlling part of the content they're pushing, but also maybe that population in China might want to see another type of content than here in the West.
Maybe, yeah. I know, like, I don't know what studies it was, but, Chinese people, like, they have more engineers and more kind of people going into, what are they called? The STEM fields, what it's called? Like science and technology and all that kind of stuff. Maybe also like just the culture there likes to promote, study, go to university and that kind of mentality. But yeah, so what are your thoughts on China? So maybe just to give more context, so the radical draft rules laid out by the increasingly powerful Cyberspace Administration of China highlight Beijing's desire to exert control over more parts of the country's digital life. If the rules are brought into law, they could have implications for companies such as Tencent and ByteDance, which run some of China's biggest mobile apps. The CAC's draft rules are a broader push by Chinese authorities to curb and prevent addiction among those under 18 to apps and smartphones. 2021, China introduced regulation that restricted teens under 18 of age from playing online video games for more than 3 hours per week. Okay, so they did, yeah, this is the one that I remember where for video games, they limited for
3 hours.
3 hours per week.
Wow, that's not a lot.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
You know, some kids spend 3 hours a day.
So yeah, I guess like when it comes to like my opinion on this, like it kind of comes down to like what is the real motive here? Like, is it really to like benefit the population and to help them with their mental health, or is there like some other agenda here that they might be pushing?
I don't know. Yeah, that's
and especially in governments that tend to control their population that much,
especially
China. Yeah, like how could we be so sure that it's for the reasons they say it is? But maybe okay, let's say it is. Yeah, let's say it is for the benefit of the population, or let's say it's even to control people. Either way, in this case, it's a good thing because like people will benefit from that. Their health will, right?
Well, that's what I think. Yeah, like okay, maybe we can get like a sneak peek into the room of all these politicians drafting these rules, and they're like we're gonna control these kids, they're gonna use their phones less, be addicted less, and then we're gonna push them to go more into like these smart fields, get degrees, because China, they're trying to build this population of smart people that so they can build their economy, and they might have those motives to kind of become this power ruling country, right? Okay, but isn't it still a good thing?
Yeah, I think so. Like even if it is to control the population, the measure they put in here, I don't think is bad, because either way, the population will benefit from it. Either way, like it's not like they're being they are being controlled, but also like they are getting some benefit from it in the sense where they won't become like addicted and have potential health problems from these technologies.
Yeah. I mean, or I don't know, should parents be more in control of their children's device usages? And because there exists parental control, it's not like it's just that here the rules, as it says, it requires smartphones to have a minor mode for those under 18 that should be easy to access when the device powers on as either a home screen icon or the system settings. And it says the minor mode will allow parents to manage that their kids see and allow internet service providers to show content based on a user's age. According to CAC, children under the age of 3 should be shown songs and audio-focused content. Those between 12 and 16 can be exposed to educational and news content.
Okay, so at least it'll be promoted podcasts more often.
I think we got a good market there, the Chinese market to
yeah,
get
but
into.
All jokes aside, I think this minor mode thing, it could be effective, but there are also bad parents out there, right? Like they're not necessarily gonna put in the right measures for their own children, and it's almost like they need the government to do it for them.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? In the West, we're more about less of the government intervention and my freedom, and I decide how I want to, I don't know why I could.
I went to the American accent.
Yeah, I got there. So I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's that mentality, right? The difference there. I think we need to find a balance, though, because at the end of the day, people should have their autonomy and choose what they want to do. But that's the thing, though. In the West, we tout freedom constantly, right? But it's like you have a population that isn't necessarily educated well to use their freedom correctly. So you have all these sort of zombie people, freedom. And then you have all these big ass corporations who are like, yeah, you like your freedom? Here, take this candy. Here, take this device. Oh, you like that? Oh, yeah, take it. It's your freedom. You're the one who chooses it, right?
Yeah.
The government's like, wait a second, why is my population being addicted? Well, freedom, but you don't educate the population correctly. You know what I'm saying, right?
Freedom is a hell of a drug, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like we want our freedom so much we do anything for it, but maybe even become addicted to these technologies.
It becomes philosophical, but it's sometimes in the past how, you've had tyranny come up, right? How some people would rather, someone dictate to them what to do. At least they know the right path instead of being free to choose and not knowing
Yeah. Yeah, some people
chaos.
like that kind of direction in their lives, right? Like, oh, you're allowed to do this and you can't do that.
Yeah.
And it helps people go in the right direction. Whereas if they have like too many options, they're like, ooh, where do I go? I could go here. I could
And then
go
you could be
here."
easily manipulated.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It could be easily manipulated. So
Well, yeah. So that's the thing. It's more of a systemic issue and a cultural thing where, the population a lot of times are being used as pawns for a greater, cause of like building more capital, right? Profits and the whole system that we're living in. It's like, does the government care about us? At the end of the day, is that it? Right?
yeah. I mean, it could be debatable at times, but I guess here there's like pros and cons to this measure that they're trying to put in. The pros are obviously, better health, and the cons are, the control that they might be imposing.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we don't even know like which one's which. We don't know we don't know the real agenda here.
That's the thing. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, that's the thing. That aside, I think we can kind of learn something from this and
Yeah.
maybe consider certain measures, right?
But would you allow, like, would you want to have this kind of measure put in like in countries like Canada or the US?
Well, that's the thing though. It's because this measure is saying, oh, you guys, the parents, you don't know how to parent your child or control their screen time. I'm going to impose a law here for you to do it. I think a better way would be that parents are educated enough to, control and limit the screen time of their children.
So maybe the answer is better education on these, devices and the potential, nefarious effects they have on our health.
Yeah, and better support to parents so that they feel less stressful and want to give these devices as a coping mechanism, which
Yeah,
we're
that's
kind
the
of
next
doing
article. Little segue, yeah.
Yeah, a little segue here, right? So, right, we would prefer that parents knew how to control the usage of these devices, right? And one of the articles that we found here is stating, our screens, the new pacifiers, right? And what is the role of parenting stress and parental attitudes for children's screen time in early childhood? So let's have a look at this article.
Yeah, so in late 2023, there was a study that was done, like Heiko mentioned, on how parents' attitudes towards devices and also their parental stress levels could impact the child's screen time. So the abstract goes, screen media are increasingly shaping our everyday lives, including those of young children. Among other reasons, parents might use screen media as a problem-oriented coping strategy to reduce parenting stress levels. Furthermore, parental attitudes towards children's screen media use have been shown to predict screen time in young children. The present study examines the intertwined roles of parenting stress and parental attitudes towards two children's screen time throughout early childhood. Parents of children up to age 3 participated in 4 assessments within 10 months. Parents reported their level of parenting stress, their attitude towards young children's screen media use, and their child's screen time at each assessment. Across all measurement time points, results indicated that both parenting stress and positive parental attitudes are positively associated with children's screen time. Furthermore, parental attitudes were found to strengthen the link between stress and children's screen time at 2 of the 4 measurement time points. Recommendations for children's screen time should consider parental stress and suggest alternative strategies for coping with parenting stress. Well, that was quite a mouthful.
It's a lot of stress.
Yeah, a lot of tongue twisters in there. So I guess they're trying to see the relationship between, what does the parent think about these devices? Like, what is their attitude? Like, what is their perception? That's one. Is it used to, like, does the parents think that this child is going to use this device in a positive way, like, oh, they will be able to learn, or they will be able to, see something positive online? Or is their attitude negative, where the parent thinks, oh, this is going to be a really bad use of my child's time because it's going to have potential side effects and health consequences that obviously we don't want the child to have? So that's one aspect. And then the other one is the parenting stress. So they're checking whether, if the parent is stressed, does that parent tend to give a device to the child to like distract him and, in this way reduce the parental stress?
Yeah. It's a lot of, yeah.
Yeah.
So basically this comes down to how parents use these devices as a coping mechanism, right? And what I was saying before is that, yeah, parents, sometimes lack that support, the community support, the government support to alleviate their stressful lives, right? A lot of times now, both parents need to work, come home late, preparing dinners, supper, whatever, the lunch, and sometimes they don't have time to monitor their kids. Thus, that creates this environment in which, who else is going to parent the kid? The screen, right?
Yeah. So that's why they're comparing like the screens to new pacifier. It's like, oh, my kid needs a distraction. Here's a screen.
Yeah. Just put it in. They get pacified.
And I one of our guests one time talked about how like the screens is like the new smoking. For adults, I kind of see that, right? For the kids, like the pacifier, but for the adults, like smoking. Like before, like I remember so many people used to smoke, and now that kind of died off a little bit because we know how bad it is for you. But there's still a lot of people that smoke.
Yeah.
But like now it's like the screen. Just everyone is just like on their phones like 24/7.
Yeah. It's almost worse in a way. Like, I don't know. Yeah. The health effects aren't as
Immediate.
Yeah. Or as a parent.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like maybe health effects directly. It's more mental effects and just, broader cultural effect. And everyone's just kind of like,
I wonder
neck
what
down.
like arguably is worse, like smoking or like excessive screen use.
I mean, some clickbait titles online will be like 3 hours of screen time is linked with cancer.
Yeah. Who knows though?
Well,
I mean, it can be, I'm sure.
It could be, but that's the thing. Like the link with screen time and cancer, that's a bit stretched there. But it's like, yeah, what steps does it take to get to that? If 3 hours of screen time at night, you're sacrificing sleep, then that obviously could cause.
Yeah, I guess it also depends on the person, right? I mean, some people, they could smoke their entire lives and barely have any, health repercussions, and maybe some people, they could use these screens all the time and it doesn't really do anything.
Not have
to
an
them.
issue. Yeah. I'm trying to think, when we're younger, right? We play a lot of video games, we're in front of screens a lot, or even with computers. I was on my computer like a lot, right? But I never had these negative perceptions of it, right? It's more when you grow and you realize, oh, this might not be really good for me. It's like you have this sort of negative reaction to it. Like, oh, fuck, why am I using this computer all day? Oh, why am I on my phone, right? Instead of maybe just being like, okay, I use it, all right, next kind of.
Yeah,
maybe,
because when
maybe
you're
our
uneducated,
attitude.
yeah. When you're uneducated towards a subject, you're not going to know, like, you're not going to care. You're going to just be mindless and like, oh, okay, I was on my phone for 8 hours. Who cares?
But what I mean is ignorance bliss?
Well, in certain cases, but here I'm not sure if it's really bliss, because like, yeah, you could be mindless in the sense where like you don't know the effects, and you could be on your phone all day and just put it away, then do it again, but you don't know what that did to you.
Okay. I think what it comes down to is like, what do you value, right? Because as a child, you don't value much. You're just like, I just want to have fun.
Yeah.
And so for you, 8 hours in front of the computer playing games is not bad because that's what you value. But as you grow up, you're like, okay, I need to find a partner, or maybe create a family, maybe a career. Oh shit, time's running out. Like, what do I, And then so this becomes a negative thing, right? You get a negative reaction. Shit, I spent 4 hours on this screen. That's not good, right?
Yeah.
So like our attitudes towards these things change.
But you don't think that some people are not so like enthralled into like the video games and the media that even as they age and get to that, you know, maturity level, they're not just still all encompassed with the games, and they're just still in that world.
Like they're still like playing 8 hours a day or something. But yeah, okay, you know, they are. But what is their attitude towards, you know? Do they still see it as a positive thing?
Yeah, I wonder. It's a good question. Like, I'm not really a gamer, but like, I wonder if like these hardcore gamers, they ever like, they wonder like, man, what am I doing to myself? Or they're just like, I don't care.
But
Like,
but
this is
that's what
fun.
I mean. You know, it's like, who am I to tell to someone who, you know, I don't know, does his 9 to 5, comes home, eats some whatever meal, you know, and then plays the rest of the night, and that's his life, and that doesn't bother him.
Yeah,
right?
but what if he doesn't have a 9 to 5 and he doesn't
Oh,
have
okay,
the 9 to 5 because he's playing games? You know, that happens.
Yeah, no, of course, yeah. People who are just at home or just receive benefits or something, or
Yeah.
and then they just play games. Yeah, but again, maybe that might be enough for them. Some people just live off on the bare minimum, or they don't aspire to much, right? It's like what I'm trying to come down to: is it objectively bad, or is it just bad because, you know, it doesn't
Yeah.
align with?
Yeah, you're looking at this from like a philosophical
Yeah, I'm
perspective,
kinda bringing
almost
it-
like what is our purpose in life? Like if the guy's purpose is to stay in front of a screen and play games all day,
Okay.
okay, so be it.
Okay,
you know?
okay. Let me tell you like this joke from, you know, this Armenian sketch videos that I really love, and I've showed you a few of these. It's this duo in Armenia. They've done like these really funny sketch videos. But anyways, so there's this video where there's this guy. He's, you know, on the sidewalk, just like laying down, taking in the sun besides the trees. And you see this rich guy comes with his Mercedes, comes out of the car. He's like, "What are you doing? Just lying down there?" He's like, "I'm just, you know, just chilling, relaxing." He's like, "What do you mean? Go work a bit, make $10, make $100." Then he's like, "Why?" He's like, "Well, then with $100, you could, you know, make more of that, maybe 1,000, maybe 10,000. Then you can open your company." He's like, "Why?" He's like, "Well, then you could have workers, then, you know, have more money, make more profit." He's like, "Why?" "Because, you know, do all of this. And then at the end, he's like, "Well, because one day you could go to like a nice place and relax."
I know that's gonna. Yeah, I saw that
right?
coming. Yeah.
And then just have freedom to do what you want. He's like, "Well, I'm already doing that.
I'm already on the floor.
I'm already living the life," which is kind of true, right? A lot of people pursue these, you know, goals of money and status and whatnot for them to just want to have freedom. So it's
Yeah.
like, what is your goal at the end of the day?
Yeah, for me, the funniest is like when people they have all this money and then they just go like on a year-round cruise or something. It's like that's
Oh.
life. You're just on a cruise, like you're sitting down, like
Well, like 60K a year just for like a
Yeah.
cruise or something.
It's just on
like
a-
the whole salary
like
for a
your
cruise.
entire life savings for a cruise. I like cruises. I've been on them, but like I don't know. I don't see myself like on a year-round cruise and just sitting on the top deck.
What? Like, are there really boats that go year long?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Yeah, they're like year-round cruises. They like go around the world.
Oh, okay, they stop at like different places.
Yeah.
And, man, that must cost
Cost a fortune, yeah. It's pretty wild. Anyways, we got sidetracked a bit.
No, yeah.
But yeah, it's just how do we get to this point?
I don't
We're
know.
just
Yeah.
talking about your Armenian comedian.
Yeah, comedians. Yeah. How do we get to here?
We were talking about. Oh yeah, I remember. I said, is that all of life's purpose, just to stay in front of the screen? And then you brought up the joke.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. So
that's how we got there.
just kind of what is it at the end of the day that the person values? You know, it's like your attitude towards it. Is that what creates a negative impact on you, or are they negatively impacting you? You know, like smoking, right? We could say objectively it's bad, but some people, like, you know, the exception, they smoke the whole life and nothing happens, right?
Yeah. Let's maybe ask GPT what it thinks.
GPT, what it thinks of what?
Let's ask it. What is worse, excessive screen time or smoking? I want to see what
Honestly,
it
dude, what do you think it's gonna say?
answers. It's gonna say smoking's bad. I just want to see the reasoning.
Okay, I mean, we could try here.
Let's just try.
Both smoking and excessive screen time, consumption of digital content can have negative impacts on health, but they affect different aspects of well-being. Smoking is well documented as a major cause of various serious health problems, including lung cancer, heart disease, stroke, and respiratory issues. It not only affects the smoker but also those exposed to secondhand smoke. The addictive nature of nicotine can lead to long-term dependency and difficulty quitting. Excessive screen time and consumption of digital content can lead to a range of issues as well, particularly concerning mental health, physical health, and social well-being. Prolonged screen time can contribute to eye strain, disrupted sleep patterns, sedentary behavior leading to obesity and related health problems, and potentially addiction-like behaviors towards technology. It can also impact cognitive development, attention span, and social skills, especially in children and adolescents. Comparing the two is difficult because they affect different aspects of health and well-being, and their severity can vary depending on factors such as frequency and duration of exposure. However, both smoking and excessive screen time, consumption of digital content can be harmful, and it's important for individuals to be mindful of their habits and seek to maintain a healthy balance.
Wow. Okay, so things are pretty bad. Honestly, the screen time sounded worse.
Yeah, with like all these different,
Yeah.
effects. Well, that's the thing. It's like screen time can lead to like a myriad of,
Yeah, but if you think about it, it comes down to the same thing because let's say you say, okay, smoking leads to cancer, but you could also say screen time leads to poor sleeping habits, and poor sleeping habits also lead to cancer.
Well, yeah,
so you could extrapolate it down to the same thing. So
you could.
yeah, so at the end of the day, anything in like overconsumption is just bad, right?
It's just, yeah, that's what it comes down to. It's the balance, right? The balance in life. That's what we all need.
Yeah, we strive for that on this show.
That's kind of our main, objective of finding balance. But yeah, interesting discussion here.
Yeah. So I don't think we really looked at the results of this, did we?
Did we look at the results?
No, we just read the abstract. So yeah, let's take a look here. So conclusions and directions of further research. So it says overall, both parenting stress and parental attitude towards young children's screen media use were associated with children's screen time. In addition, more positive parental attitudes towards children's screen time media use in early childhood tended to strengthen the link between parenting stress and children's screen time. Yeah, so basically the attitude also matters, right, of the parent. So if the parent thinks it's good, then the kid will end up using it more. If they think it's bad, then they won't.
Okay. Makes sense. I mean, yeah, that's what it is at the end of the day.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of these studies, they're kind of like common sense, but at the same time, there's like nothing to back up the common sense. So like someone like goes like in a deep dive.
It
on
needs
something.
to actually do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. That's how science and research should be. It's not, oh, I think we can all agree on this. No, it's like, did you study it? Do you have the findings to back this up?
Yeah, it's always about the concrete like evidence and the numbers and the things that really prove the point, and not just like hypothesis like because
that's what it is.
They stipulated the three hypotheses at the beginning of the paper too. Like we didn't go through those, but it's basically that like the more the parent's attitude and stress level is high towards these devices, then the higher the screen time of the kid would be. Yeah, so it's a pretty interesting like articles on this topic. Yeah,
maybe one last one.
Yeah, we can go through another one.
And this is recent, right? This just came in March. Is the article here where apparently the U.S. House of Senate has passed a TikTok bill. Will the U.S. really ban the app? So it's saying a bill passed Wednesday by the House requiring TikTok owner ByteDance to sell or face a U.S. ban is most existential threat yet. So they're asking TikTok, you need to sell your company to us. Like, we're going to buy it, so we'll have the control over it. Or else you face a ban.
Is that because the U.S. is like afraid of what that company's doing without them like having any control on how they're designed their algorithms and all that?
Basically, yeah. I mean, we'll go a bit through the article, but this echoes back, when Trump got elected. You remember? Trump wanted to ban TikTok?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And it was saying you have until September, to sell your company. But it didn't really go through with it. Like, I don't know, it just got dropped and they let it pass. But now it seems like it's serious. So it's saying the House of Representatives passed a bill on Wednesday that will require TikTok owner ByteDance to sell the social media platform or face a total ban in the United States. The legislation now moves to the Senate, where the likelihood of passing is uncertain, but with a landslide of support in the House, 352 Congress members voted in favor of the bill and only 65 voted against.
Oh, wow.
So the way it works in the U.S. is for some people, it's like they have the House of Representatives that kind of vote on a bill, and then it goes to the House of Senate, and that's when it finally gets voted on. Here's what you need to know about the bill. Blah, blah. The bill that passed in the House on Wednesday is the latest salvo in an ongoing political battle over the platform, which exploded in popularity after its emergence in 2017. It's quickly surpassed Facebook. The platform's meteoric rise alarmed some lawmakers who believe that TikTok's China-based parent company could collect sensitive user data and censor content that goes against the Chinese government. TikTok has repeatedly stated it has not and would not share U.S. user data with the Chinese government, but lawmakers' concern were exacerbated by news investigation that showed China-based employees at ByteDance had accessed non-public data about U.S. TikTok users. So yeah, it has a lot to do with like the data that they're thinking China might be using. But yeah, these measures have not been sufficient for many U.S. lawmakers. And in March 2023, the TikTok CEO Shu Zichu was called before Congress, where he faced more than 5 hours of intensive questioning about these and other practices. Lawmakers asked Chu about his own nationality, accusing him of fealty to China. He is in fact Singaporean. Yeah, this was also kind of a funny clip. I don't know if you saw that.
Let's watch it.
Let's watch it. Oh, okay. I don't know if that's the video though.
So,
yeah.
you said today, as you often say, that you live in Singapore. Of what nation are you a citizen?
Singapore.
Are you a citizen of any other nation?
No, Senator.
Have you ever applied for Chinese citizenship?
Senator, I served my nation in
asking-
Singapore. No, I did not.
Do you have a Singaporean passport?
Yes, and I served my military for two
Do
and a
you
half
ha-
years in
Do you
Singapore.
have any other passports from any other nations?
No, Senator.
Your wife is an American citizen. Your children are American citizens.
That's correct.
Have you ever applied for American citizenship?
No, not yet.
Okay. Have you ever been a member of the Chinese Communist Party?
Senator, I'm Singaporean. No.
Have you ever been associated or affiliated with the Chinese Communist Party?
No, Senator. Again, I'm
Okay.
Singaporean.
Let me ask you some hopefully simple questions.
What? That was so weird.
Yeah,
Dude, you know what that reminds me of? Remember that what happened to Mark Zuckerberg when he was
yeah.
I love how they always repent. Yes, Senator.
Yes.
No, Senator.
No, Senator. Of course not. Yeah.
I don't know. Those are some weird questions to ask, I feel like. I don't know.
I mean, that's the thing. And a lot of people kind of make fun of these U.S. Politicians and lawmakers that have no clue about social media platforms and how they work. They're always like, what is Wi-Fi?
Yeah. Pretty
Yes,
seems
these-
like. But like, I feel like, I don't know, maybe because it was a short video, but I didn't really see the point of asking him, like, if he has a passport in the U.S. or if, like,
No. He's basically trying to like get to like see, are you tied to China?
Yeah, I kind of got that, but it's just still weird. I don't know.
Well,
It's
yeah,
weird.
that's what I mean. It's a bit of an awkward interrogation, and it's gone viral because of that.
Yeah, I remember when they asked Zuck, like, how do you guys make your profits at Facebook? Senator, we run ads.
Yeah, he always is like, Senator.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I know Zuckerberg's.
Man, that video was funny. That's where he started getting compared to like a robot, right, or like an android. He's like white
Yeah,
face,
like with his eyes.
We run ads, Senator.
Malfunction.
Oh my god.
But yeah, just to kind of briefly, so yeah, is this bill really a TikTok ban? So under the new bill, ByteDance would have 165 days to divest from TikTok, meaning it would have to sell the social media platform to a company not based in China. If it did not, app stores, including the Apple App Store and Google Play, would be legally barred from hosting TikTok or providing web services to ByteDance controlled applications. Authors of the bills have argued it does not constitute a ban, as it gives ByteDance the opportunity to sell TikTok and avoid being blocked. TikTok could live on, and people could do whatever they want on it, provided there is that separation. It is not a ban. Think of this as a surgery designed to remove the tumor and thereby save the patient in the process.
Oh my god. that's
Damn.
funny. You know what I'm curious about? How much do they want the
the
what's the
profits.
profit here?
Give me the money.
Yeah. Like how much do they want them to sell for?
Because they're like, how much how much should TikTok sell it for?
Yeah.
I don't
But like,
know,
okay,
dude.
so they're okay, so they want to buy off TikTok, right?
Yeah.
Like the US wants to have more control in this.
Yeah, they
So
want a U.S. company, like maybe Google, to get TikTok.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like, what do you think what do you think TikTok would want for their app?
Well, that's the thing.
It must be like an astronomical amount. Yeah,
Like they don't. I don't think they'll sell it that easy. Especially the U.S. market for them is
Yeah.
a huge.
for sure in the billions. Like it has to be.
Oh,
like
yeah.
if Elon bought Twitter for 44 billion, how much do you think TikTok's gonna go for?
for 100 billion. And then this list. Okay, so some TikTok has argued otherwise, stating that it is not clear whether China would approve a sale or that it could even complete a sale within 6 months. The legislation has a predetermined outcome: a total ban of TikTok in the United States. The company said after the committee vote, the government is attempting to strip 170 million Americans of their constitutional right to free expression. It's freedom. They should choose. This will damage millions of businesses, deny artists an audience, and destroy the livelihoods of countless creators across the country. So
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think of that. Right. So there are a lot of like American creators that are on the platform.
well, yeah, obviously. I mean, a lot of people would be affected, and
Yeah.
some it would be negative for sure. But yeah, you see, while Trump, who started the war on TikTok in 2020, has reversed his stance on the potential ban, most Republican lawmakers have expressed support of it.
Really? So why did he change his stance?
Well, I don't know. Well, that's why, at one point he was against TikTok and he wanted to ban it, and then he kind of backed off.
I feel like Trump usually is one of those people that kind of sticks to his guns.
Yeah.
I guess here he changed his mind. It's kind of weird.
I mean, the Biden administration apparently backs the bill, with press secretary saying the administration wants to see this bill get done so it can get to the president's desk. Oh, so they want it. Despite Trump's opposition to the bill, many Republicans are pushing forward with the effort to ban TikTok or force its sale.
It says the Biden campaign joined TikTok last month.
Where?
Right up top there.
Oh, Biden's campaign joined TikTok. Yeah, obvious. Wait, what? Biden's campaign joined TikTok?
I guess they have like an account, like an official account or something.
Okay,
Is that what they're trying to say?
They joined it, but they want it banned. It's like,
Yeah,
make
it's
up your
kinda
mind.
weird.
Yeah, so some oppose it, but it seems like there is kind of a big movement to ban this.
What are your thoughts? Like, what would you do?
I was actually gonna ask you. Okay, so I guess I'm on the stand. Senator, why are you asking me this? What are my thoughts? It's like, like kind of my inner little, bad TikTok. I've always kind of had that in the back of my mind. Yeah, like fucking ban this app. Nobody needs it. But again, I mean,
The thing that go ahead. Sorry.
like I wouldn't care because I don't really use it, but I guess I understand the people who actually use it for good and for business, whatever.
The thing that I find funny is that the U.S. is worried about like censorship, but like you think if like the U.S. buys TikTok, there's not going to be any form of censorship. Like,
Well, I don't know if it's really about the censorship issue. Or
well,
I
they mentioned it at the top of the article.
No, I think the censorship was related to China.
Yeah, I'm saying so they're worried that like, in a way, like, the people that run TikTok are hiding certain things when it comes to China, right?
Anything that goes against the Chinese government. If
Yeah.
you're critiquing the government,
Yeah.
Chinese government.
I mean, I feel like any government could do that, really. Like,
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, but I don't think the U.S. really does that, though. I feel like, at least they have that in the West where you can criticize, the U.S. government or...
kind of. I
Well-
feel like it hides some stuff. I mean, we know with like these social media platforms that a lot of like,
Yeah, if you're going kind of the mainstream narrative or like certain,
Exactly.
political liberal points,
Yeah.
against... Yes, I get that. But mainly their concern is China snooping in on the data. That's what it is, yeah. But no, that's the thing. It's like, oh, okay. Do I want China to look at my data, or do I want the U.S. government to look at my data?
yeah, but that's what I find funny is because like, okay, so now it's in the hand of like this
Like Google, let's
Right,
say,
it's
bought
like-
TikTok.
yeah, so it's in the hands of like this parent company that owns TikTok, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
ByteDance,
Yeah. So then they're gonna sell it to the U.S. government. So like, what would you prefer? Like the company, like
No,
a
a U.S. company. So like Google buys TikTok, let's say.
Oh, they want one of the massive
They-
like corporations.
Yeah,
to-
it's like, okay, give Google that already has so much data, even more data. And
Okay, I actually thought that the U.S. government
No,
wanted to
no.
regulate it, so they want like one of the mainstream, like corporate tech giants to own this company.
Yes, because if a U.S. company owns it, then the U.S. knows for sure. I guess, I don't know
Okay,
to
that's
what
what they're
point. Yeah,
assuming.
that's what they're assuming. I mean, what you think Facebook is not maybe sharing stuff with? I don't know. It's like, how certain am I that some of the U.S. companies aren't sharing data with Chinese governments or I
Yeah,
don't
but
know,
that's what I mean. That's what I meant earlier. Do you think like these big tech giants are not also kind of doing things
doing
behind the
other?
scenes?
Yeah,
That's what I mean. Like, okay, they're gonna buy it, but like, is it gonna be
it's like,
better?
no, I want my family member to have access to this company.
Yeah,
But it's like, how much do you trust your own?
yeah. I mean, we're playing devil's advocate here and seeing which one would be better or worse, but I don't know. Seems like it would be probably in the wrong hands either way.
Okay. Um. So so technically, if it does get bought out, it's not going to be banned. People will still be able to use it. It's just a different company
Yeah.
that owns it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like TikTok will disappear. The only time that it will disappear is if they don't sell it and they
Yeah,
get
it's a
out.
weird form of blackmail. It's kind of funny.
It's like, you better sell or you're out.
Yeah, it's like a funny way to like get people out of the business, you know?
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like TikTok is going to push back. 'Cause
Probably.
it's,
Or they're gonna put such an astronomical price. They're gonna be like, "What the fuck? Like, how can I? Like, how can we buy this?"
yeah,
Like,
because that's the thing. It's like you're not limiting to how much they can sell this for. It's like, oh, you want to buy it? Okay.
yeah,
To
exactly.
$1 trillion.
$1 trillion. All right. What are you gonna do now, huh?
Google's like, no.
Yeah, we'll see. I guess we'll see how this unfolds.
Anyways,
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I think we covered a lot.
spoke
I
a
mean,
lot here. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe let's kind of end at least on a positive note, and we're gonna at least try to give you guys some tricks on how we kind of cope with this overconsumption of the platforms, the social media, the screen time, and how we've kind of implemented those in our lives.
Yeah.
So yeah, we kind of
The write-downs.
we thought about a couple tricks that we use. Like I'll tell my tricks, and then Heiko could say his.
Okay, go ahead.
So one of them that I use, well, clearly it's not working because I have like a screen time of 3 hours and 13 minutes. But if I were to like try to improve that, one of the things that I've been trying to do is limit my screen time in the morning. So when I wake up, I don't use my phone like for at least a couple hours, even unless it's like an emergency. I try to, do like I try to have like a morning routine. There's a lot of things I do when I wake up. I don't want to really get into that necessarily because you could do whatever you want, but at least try to keep your mind focused on one thing rather than getting distracted with the phone. Because I feel like if you put yourself in the wrong direction as soon as you wake up, you're going to be tempted to use the phone even more during the day. So like if you start and you're like, let me start using it right when I wake up the first second, then the whole day you're going to be just on it. And then we learned a couple of tricks from that guy Mark Williams that came on, that doctor. So he said you could put like a reminder on your phone not to look at the phone. So I had already showed that in one of our episodes that I have like a note on my phone where you can just write like, please don't look at this phone, and then you'll be less tempted to look at it. It works, but you need to kind of also you need to abide by that.
By that, yeah.
Is there any other tricks I use? I mean, just be more mindful about the dangers, right? Understanding the dangers. Like there are dangers, and it's not just like a new novel thing, and it's not super positive in all ways. There are some downsides to this. As much as the internet and all is very powerful, and it could give us a lot of information at the tip of our fingers, it's important not to just fall into that trap and be on our phone all day long.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, some of my tips that I can give is just to be more intentional when you pick up the phone, because it becomes so much like a Pavlovian kind of reflex, like take out my phone, open it up. It's like, why am I doing it? Is there a purpose? Be really intentional and mainly use it for, contacting people or looking up information or something useful instead of just mindless scrolling. Kind of feel like, what feelings do you have when you open certain apps, right? Sometimes, when you open up and you go on YouTube, Facebook, it's because it's like you're feeling bad, maybe anxiety or something, and you're trying to cope, right? It's like a coping mechanism. But yeah, some of the other tricks that I have is for a while now, my home screen is not the original home screen with all the different icons. It's just the wallpaper and text for the apps. Like I have 8 apps just on the home screen. And it says, let's say Messenger, Google Maps, phone. It just text. So
Why is that?
it's a very minimalist UI launcher. Okay, so this is mainly for Android users because iPhone, you can't really customize that. But why is that? Because yeah, when you open the phone, when you see the red YouTube icon, you're more tempted to click on it. But if it's just written YouTube, or if it's not even there, so me, the way I need to do it is I need to, if I want to search for apps that are not on the screen, I need to type the name.
Oh wow.
Like I need
okay.
to scroll up and then type YouTube to open it. So it like makes it more effort to, click on these apps, right? Yeah, I mean, if you can't do that, just remove addictive apps from your home screen. It's an easy fix. Set a timer on your phone. Like I do have that where as soon as I pass the 2 hours, so my limit per day is 2 hours. That's what I try to aim for. So you saw my average was 2 hours, 17 minutes. So I'm not too far from that. So as soon as the timer hits, it says, "Oh, you use 2 hours your phone. Take a break.
Yeah,
set
that's
it
a
aside."
good trick. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, or yeah, another trick: have your phone away from you as much as you can, right? Outside of your bedroom, or when you're at the office, maybe put it in the drawer, or put it somewhere else. Don't make it easy to grab the phone.
Yeah. Yeah, and back on one of the points that you brought up, I think like the almost like the FOMO part, like you get FOMO of not like clicking on something
Yeah.
on an app, like, oh, I need to check my emails, I need to check what's happening in my group chats, I need to check what's happening on YouTube, on Instagram, all this shit. That is the hardest thing for me.
The
like,
FOMO,
like it almost feels like
you're missing out.
I'm not doing my part almost in my life. Like if I'm not looking, it's like damn, I'm missing out on something. Like, oh, I need to do something. I need to check this. I need to do that. Like, and if I'm not on the app, then I'm not getting those things done. That's how my brain works with all these
Okay.
apps. Like the emails. Like I'm always like checking. Like
Make sure all the emails are responded.
not
But
even
is it
that.
task oriented, like emails and messages, or is it like trying to keep up to date with cultural stuff?
All that too. Like both. Like task related and also the cultural
Cultural,
aspect.
okay. Yeah, the cultural for sure. Like me too. I can have a problem. It's because every time when you open the YouTube home screen, it's like a new thing happened.
Yeah.
A new thing in the culture. Somebody famous, somebody this, a new trailer for a movie. Something released, and you want to always be like, when your friend's like, "Hey, did you hear about that?" Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, exactly. You want to be in the loop,
In
right?
the loop, yeah.
Yeah.
It's that kind of. Okay, with news articles, for example, before every day, check Google News. Now I check the news almost never.
I never got influenced by those as much. I've
Okay.
never been like a news guy.
News guy.
Like a Fox News guy.
Tell
I've
you
never-
Fox News,
No, I've never been like a super
like sucked into the
oriented
news.
person for the news, but like I could get sucked in other things, like YouTube videos, like just information about whatever I'm into, like any science-based evidence for better lifting techniques. Like I'm really into like watching videos about lifting, as I love lifting. I'm always watching that stuff. Any like diet tricks or anything that could like give me new things to study is always what I'm trying to find online. And I'm always like, oh, I'm gonna miss out on all this shit, But really, like, what are you really?
What
missing?
are you really missing out? Yeah, or are you actually absorbing all that information? Okay, that's my other problem too. And I know sometimes we meme, that guy Ty Lopez of knowledge, right? I like knowledge, and you do too, right? And we always try to like grasp, knowledge from here, knowledge from that, learn. And it's like if I don't, then I'm not growing, and so that could be another
And even like
FOMO.
podcasts, right? I'm always like listening to the next podcast, or what can like when I'm driving, I'm constantly like feeding my brain with a podcast. Dude, we looked at the screen time. If I would look at how many podcasts I listen to, that would be bad.
like 15 hours.
But arguably, like I guess listening to podcasts is not as bad than like being absorbed on a screen, but it's still a distraction, right?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, can we be bored sometimes too?
That's the thing. Yeah, it's hard to be bored. Like I don't know. I can't sit down and be like,
nothing.
I'm bored. Okay, nothing's happening. Like I can't. My mind can't wrap itself around that. Like
It needs to
always-
find something
yeah.
to do. Yeah.
Always trying to find something,
No.
which is bad in its own way.
That's the thing. And with these phones and all these sort of devices, it just makes it easier to fill that empty time. Before we didn't have it. So before we were just like, I don't know, let me maybe go speak to my, parents, or, maybe find a friend outside, or
Yeah, there was this cool image. I think I've seen it. Maybe we could just kind of close on that. It was like a comparison between like the 1950s, then like now in the 2000s. How like people like first they would be on the reading the newspaper, and then there would be like a time jump, and then they would be like doing something else, kind of maybe watching TV and the radio, and
And
then it
now
would be
it's-
like now the phones.
Oh.
See if you can find that picture. It's cool. Yeah, see, it's kind of that. Like it's not exactly this picture.
Well,
I was
this is
thinking about,
like
but
in
it's the
the-
same thing. Okay, so these people are in
on
the
the
subway.
subway.
Everyone is reading a newspaper, and now everyone now is on their phones.
yeah.
But they're saying as if like it's a joke here, like, oh wait, like people before used to read newspapers, the phones are making us antisocial. But bro, like you can't compare that. Like the
No.
effects newspaper has on your brain compared to reading being on your phone all day long is not even comparable.
No, exactly. They're saying
There
like,
you go. I think this might be actually the picture I was thinking about.
Okay.
See how like everyone's waiting kind of like for like the bus or
Yeah.
something?
but
Yeah.
they're in the 1950s, whatever. They're all reading a newspaper, whereas now they're all reading it. But it's like, yeah, some people would be like, "Oh, is that better?" Like they're still not talking to each other, or. But I feel like that's maybe just a snapshot, and you're like comparing it and saying it's similar. But I don't think it's similar.
It's not. That's
It's
what I
not
mean.
a potent drug in your
Exactly.
hand there.
I think here they're just comparing like the social aspect. Like, okay, in both cases you're maybe not talking.
Yeah.
In both cases,
But
you're
once
kind
they're done, they're done.
Yeah.
Like who has theirs?
of, right. Yeah, think about that too, right? Let's say you read the paper. You read the paper for the day, okay, and you're done.
Yeah,
But
the
where
rest
the
of the
phone,
day.
you have infinite amount of data to consume and information. You're never done.
You're
That's
never
the
done,
issue.
yeah.
You're never done.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's the point with all of this, is that you are never done. Social media, internet, everything just says no, more. There is more.
Yeah.
There is more. Right?
Yeah. And I feel like at this point, this podcast could go on forever because we have a lot of stuff to talk about here. And I think it's a
But it was
way
pretty
to,
cool,
to
yeah.
end that. Yeah. It was a cool discussion. So,
But I think I liked it, and hopefully you guys, took some good information, some good advice.
yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in. And leave a like, subscribe, all that stuff. And hopefully you guys will tune into the next one and, come for the ride.
Yep. So we have some more interviews coming up soon, and we'll also do more of these
Yeah.
podcasts, just us two.
All right.
Alrighty.
Catch you guys next time.
Take
Bye.
care.